Alright, so now we have seen how to deal with multiple states. Now, as discussed in the previous lecture, I'm going to combine all these fields inside one object. So if I take an object, let's say, instead of saying first name, last name, I just say personal info, and I put a setter method named set personal info, and this use state will have an object which will have the first name initially blank, then the last name, of course, blank, and the mobile. That also I'm going to keep blank initially. This means now we do not need these states. Even this data is now not needed because all the states are inside one object. So what I can do, I can directly display this object. Here I can say personal info. That is the object name. But if I try to display this, it won't allow me because while rendering it says that objects are not valid as a React child. Now in this case, what you can do, you just have to put json.stringify. So this is going to convert the object into string, and now you see that the object is getting displayed. Alright, now the next step is whenever I type something in this field, it should update this first name. So let's do that. Here, instead of set first name or set last name, we have the method set personal info, and the very same method will be here and here as well. So now it should change the value. Let's see what happens. The moment I start typing test, it displays test. That means the object now does not exist. Why? This we have already seen in the React fundamentals, that when you try to update an object literal, you have to make sure that the previous value, the existing value, is there, and then you update the new value. So even in this case, if I type the last name, whatever it is, that means this will be gone. That is, the first name will be gone. Same goes with the mobile. So now it is just the mobile which is getting replaced. We don't want that. So what are we going to do? I'm going to say curly brackets. This we have already seen in the prior lectures, so I'm sure you must be clear with it, but just in case if you do not remember, I'm reminding you here that first of all we need whatever is there inside the personal info, and then here, because it is first name, so I just want to override the value of first name. This way we have to update all the values. So let me just copy this and paste it here, but here we will have the last name. So let me just say last name, and here I'm going to say mobile. So let's say mobile. Now I'll just refresh. Now let me just type Nirmal. You see first name is getting updated, but still the last name exists. I'll say Joshi, and here if I type a value, you can see that it is getting updated. So now we have done the different way of updating the state. That is, instead of taking the states separately, we have used the different way in the sense that we have taken the values inside an object literal. Sometimes you see that this way is little easier to handle, as I mentioned earlier as well, that it doesn't matter whether you take separate states or you put it inside object literal, but certainly you can make the code more concise with object literal, and that we will see as we proceed further. Now let's talk about the relative questions. So the first question is the exercise that you manage the form input fields, input values with a single object. That means do not take the multiple states and try to update it. So you can also practice the changes from prior exercise to the current one. Try to update it so that you are clear with updating the object. Let me also remind you, updating object this way, like the one which we have used here, where we have the prior object reference and then we give the field name. Even there is a better way. There is a way where we refer the previous state and then we try to update the state. That we will see in forthcoming lectures, but at the moment you can practice with this very same syntax. The second question is, how will you update the individual value of a state inside an object? So as I mentioned, a very raw way, not a finished way, not a fine-tuned way, but yes, you first of all give the spread operator and specify the existing object, and then you give the key name and you give the new value, so that is getting overwritten. So if you do not write this personal info, it's not going to give you the result you want. The third question is, can you directly render an object? So earlier we tried to display personal info directly and we see this error because while rendering it says that objects are not valid as a React child. Now in this case, what you can do, you just have to put json.stringify. So this is going to convert the object into string, and now you see that the object is getting displayed.